the utility. So based on these two minor changes, the recommendation is that the Finance Committee approve the 2022 General Fund and Utility Fund capital budgets. And with that, I certainly would take any questions.
Thanks, Mr. Levine. So just those two very small changes from what we had seen discussed before. Any questions from committee? Seeing none, I'd ask, Councillor Redmond, go ahead.
Yeah, I had a couple of questions actually. So I was wondering why there was new gates and pay stations being installed in Peel Plaza.
Yeah, so for Peel Plaza as well as the Market Square, the data is basically, or the infrastructure is just well past its useful life. And obviously with taking credit cards and cybersecurity issues and those sort of things, it's tied into that, and they're just past their useful life and need to be upgraded.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, I think that there was a bit of comment from council about, you know, some of the different items like the $1.8 million that was going to be put into Rockwood Park. There hasn't been any changes that I can see made to any of those items.
I'm not aware of anything unless anyone else wants to jump in.
I'll be honest with you, I wanted to look up the, I tried to look up the master plan for Rockwood Park, and I don't know why I can't seem to access it. I'm not ready to approve this today. I'd like to, but I just want to take a look at that first.
City Manager, I saw you flash by the screen. Were you making a comment or just happened to flash by my screen?
No, I'm just trying to see if Commissioner Hugenholtz or Director O'Reilly can offer comment on what that $1.8 million gets you in terms of Rockwood Park. I see Commissioner Hugenholtz is on. I'll let him speak and I'll fill in the blanks if necessary. Commissioner, over to you.
Yes, thanks for the question. Yeah, there's a number of master plans that were developed for various parks in our city that were commissioned a long time ago. Like I believe the Rockwood Park plan was developed in somewhere around probably 2008 or 2009. Now we had moved forward with one or two, I believe 2 phases of that project focusing on the entryway. But there were lots of other changes. In particular, the focus for this 1.8 million would be around the duck pond area. There's some infrastructure challenges there with the stream crossing. There would be a lot of beautification and changes around the duck pond. We would reconfigure the campground entrance from its current location to the back. That was requested numerous times from St. John Horticultural Association in terms of improving their operation there. And then essentially a lot of infrastructure renewal past that point. So just fixing up and beautifying of the roads and parking areas and adding some new trails. Now, the way this project was initially phased in the master plan, the amounts don't necessarily line up exactly with the funds approved or earmarked in this particular budget. So we would have to go back and sort of update our costing and sort of rescope it to suit that budget. But those would be the main focus areas.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Commissioner Hugenholtz, is there any way that you could send me the master plan? I mean, that's an awful lot of money to do what you're talking about, but I'd like to actually see it. I know I've seen it years ago, and I really tried to dig around to find it, but there's just so much information. And what I was finding in the plans that I was seeing was just some real general information. It doesn't seem to have that much there. From what I was finding. So I don't know if there's any details on it. The other thing is of course Dominion Park is here, and I realize Dominion Park is one of council's priorities. But I also know the Dominion Park Association had applied for quite a bit of grant money. So My question is if they do end up getting approval for some of that grant money, does that kind of put our money back into the pool?
Mr. Chair, I can take that one through you to the councillor. Dominion Park will be briefed in detail on Monday evening at the council meeting in terms of the path forward. The short answer is the funds that are now available between our funding and the modest amounts that have been collected by the association to this point in time will fund, roughly speaking, in entirety, phase one of the project. And phase one of the project really is focused on the establishment of the new building and a building that is outside of the flood zone so that it will not be subjected to that in future years. There is, however, a phase 2 and 3, maybe not worded that way. There are additional initiatives that are planned for Dominion Park, and that is where supplemental fundraising may come to fruition. The commitment that we will be putting before council on Monday evening is that the funds that we currently have assigned be focused in their entirety on phase 1, that is to say the new building. And again, it will be before council on Monday evening.
City Manager, is there any way to, like, are we using Bang the Table yet? I'm wondering if there's any way to get any feedback on the tax incentives that we're getting, like the gas tax money from citizens before we approve.
Regrettably, the short answer is no. Bang the Table is coming. It's actually going to be called Shape Your City for the city of St. John. We are rolling it out mid-November timeframe. We are building the pages now as we speak, but there's no physical way to use that particular software to help with these budgeting processes. The timelines just don't add up, and we need to get these budgets approved so that we can carry on with the planning for into next year, especially the capital budgets.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Edmund. Councillor Hickey, Councillor Norton. We're good?
Everything's been answered for me, Chair. Thank you.
Yeah, nothing here, Mr. Chairman.
I'll take the time to move staff's recommendation.
Thanks, Councillor Hickey. Seconder for Councillor Norton. Just a question, my own comments. Certainly, I look forward to St. John's iteration of Bang the Table and being able to get more real-time feedback. I would say that the gas tax items have been out in the public for a couple of months now. Thanks to staff for leading us through the process so we can get it out there. Just speaking for myself personally, I've had very little feedback other than good that it's going to recreational projects and quality of life projects and not no offense with Mr. McGovern, an infrastructure company, but it's not going in pipes in the ground and it's things that citizens will be able to enjoy. We have a motion on the floor. All in favor, aye. Contrary minded. Councillor Radwin is contrary. Motion's passed. Thanks, Mr. Lee. Moving to, or do we do two motions on that? One for the operating capital and one for utility capital?
Yes, you should have separate motions for those two budgets, please.
Thanks. So I'm going to backtrack just to keep it clean. So motion on on a regular capital. Councillor Hickey, Councillor Norton, can I count on you guys? And so just our regular capital items that would include the gas tax items and what we mostly just discussed. So on that motion, all in favor, aye. Contrary minded. Thank you, Councillor Radwin is a nay. That passes. Now I'll take a motion on the utility capital budget. Councillor Norton, Councillor Hickey. On the motion for the utility capital budget, all in favor. Question, Councillor Radwin, you're voting aye. Just quicker on the draw than me. All in favor, aye. Contrary minded. Carried. Thank you. 4.4 is our internal audit plan, and presenting on behalf of the internal audit department is Ms. Forgy.
Good evening, thank you. All right, I'm going to try to share my slides here. All right, are they up?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, good evening, Chair Sullivan and members of the Finance Committee. So I'm presenting the first internal audit plan, and this one's just going to be for the rest of the 2021 year, which is another 2 months. So it's a smaller plan than you'll see going forward, but we were eager to get started right away. So I'm going to walk you through quickly the elements of the plan. These are the key areas within the plan that we'll talk about, but you do have a copy of it within the kit that you can refer to, and happy to answer any questions if I don't cover them in this presentation. So a reminder about our services, we had the charter approved in July of 2021, which is a great foundation for us because it outlined our roles, responsibilities, the governance process. So we can always refer to that if we ever need to discuss anything in relation to the services we provide. We report administratively to the CFO and functionally to the Common Council through you, the Finance Committee. And then this is an area where we just look at what type of projects we consider in scope. So we certainly consider the 5 priorities approved by council, helping you in your governance role. And then we don't just include the city itself, we also can include the controlled entities. So what we've done so far. So as I mentioned, it's rolled out in July. So the first 60 days we had our charter approved. We started to compile our audit universe, which currently consists of approximately 80 audit topics. And this happened through meetings with senior management, research, and reviewing current work plans and draft strategies. We've also set up our risk assessment process, which helps us determine what areas we want to focus on. We identified our risk categories for helping us rank the risks. And then we've scoped a current audit project, which is being presented to you tonight in this 2021 internal audit plan. So I'm basically ready to hit the ground running once I get approval of this plan and the proposed project in it. That's the intention immediately after we go to council with the recommendation. As well as that, there's also ongoing activities that we perform within internal audit, and you'll see the list grow as we progress through our work. So a lot of this will be around planning for the following year. So I'm going to have to do a lot of work around creating the internal audit plan for 2022. So we'll take all of those audit topics and have to risk rank them to determine, based on budget, timing, and risk, what we'll accomplish in 2022. That gets presented to you in Q1 of 2022. Then we also have to look at ongoing activities. So this is really important in internal audit too, is basically a performance indicator for us. So we'll have a lot of recommendations that come out of our audit reports. And the idea is that we follow up on them, continuously monitor and report out so that we can see the fruits of our labor and not just basically prepare a report and send it off. So the proposed audit project for the current year is the health and dental audit. So this audit is very important to us. It would be a performance audit, so I'll remind you of those categories later, but it'll assist us in understanding if the city provides the most effective benefits at the most efficient cost to employees and to the city. We know that this is so important to support our people, and benefits are one way of doing this. I am requesting the combination of both internal and external resources for this audit. For this audit, I will have the skills of the auditees who are our experts around the management of our health and dental plan, and that's HR team. So that will be primarily Leah Robichaud and Stephanie Hosick. And then I'm also getting assistance from our finance team, which will be with Dawn Arbor and Tiffany Fawcett. So when I talk about the external resources I need a third-party resource because I want to do some benchmarking around our current benefit plan. And in order to do that, there's basically private information that I wouldn't have access to. So they'll be able to benchmark us with, over 50 other potential organizations of similar nature. Another big part of what they can do for us is predictive modeling. So we have essentially determined, based on historically, what our requirement is for our plans at the present time. That's not a complete picture. We need to also look at, okay, what's going to happen in the next 5 years, which is based on significant assumptions. And we need to leverage people that are experts in that field and do that type of work every single day. So that'll help us properly prepare for tomorrow as well as today. So the planning process takes a lot of time and it shouldn't be underestimated. We have to be patient in this part of the process. I'm always eager to get my feet on the ground and start digging into the details, but the more time you spend on planning and scoping the work properly, the better it'll execute, the more smoothly it'll go. So we've already started that process, but of course I'm going to wait until I get formal approval from you. So these are the categories of audits we had identified in the introduction to internal audit services that we provided in July. So the performance audits, financial, compliance and regulatory audits. And then this is a reminder of our risk-based approach. So this is provided within the guidance of the International Professional Practice Framework Standards of Internal Audit. So you're going to hear me talk about us using the risk-based approach quite often. And then from that, we determined our risk categories. As you can recall, these are the ones we thought were most representative of the type of risk that the city would have. So these essentially are used as my scorecard when I go through all of that audit universe. I'll rank 1 to 5 on each of these 5 categories. So with that, I know the plan is only two more months, and the intention will be to report on this particular audit project in February of 2022. And I hope I've provided you with sufficient information for this current audit plan, and then what is going to be coming up in the beginning of the new year. It will continue to evolve, and you will continue to see movement on the plan each year. I am really excited to start the work, and I hope you will start to see the value in having this service provided to us as well. And for tonight, I am requesting the Finance Committee recommend the 2021 Internal Audit Plan for approval by Council at their next meeting. And with that, I thank you, and I will take any questions.
Questions from Ms. Morgan? Go ahead, Councillor Hickey.
Thank you, Chair. No specific questions, Jody, but rather, just saying the impact that we've already seen from this internal auditing that's been going on has been significant. Whether it's been with the aquatic center, whatever it is, we've seen the impacts that you guys have had, and they've been profound. So the more wind we can put in your sail to support these efforts, the better, because it makes us a more efficient organization and doing better with citizens' dollars at the end of the day. I think is really important, in making sure we're running as best as possibly. So thanks very much for your effort. And on that, Chair, I would move staff's recommendation.
Thanks. Moved by Councillor Hickey, seconded Councillor Norton. Councillor Radwin, over to you.
Thank you, Chair Sullivan, and thank you, Ms. Forgy. I appreciate your presentation. I just have a quick comment, actually. So a couple of years when I started thinking about running for council, one of the main things on my spreadsheet was we need an internal auditing system. And I was so thrilled to see this come up because it's so essential. We've already seen the return, like Councillor Hickey said, on this investment. So I just really want to thank City Manager and CFO Fudge and your whole team. And thank you so much, Ms. Forgy, for all your work that you've done so far. It's already saved a lot of money for taxpayers, and I'm sure that you'll continue to find efficiencies, and we hope to support you.
Thank you, councillors.
So we have the motion on the floor that the Finance Committee recommends to Common Council to approve the internal audit plan. All in favor, aye. Contrary minded? Unanimous approval. Thank you. And 4.4, I don't have anything else on my agenda, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you. And just before we officially adjourn, I appreciate the motion. A thank you to our finance staff, our support from Common Clerk's office as we continue to meet virtually. And budget was on the table tonight, so we had representatives from throughout the organization prepared to speak to items on the budget. So very much we appreciate the team being here with us tonight. And remember, sneeze into your elbow, wear your mask, socially distance, and be kind to one another. Have a great night. Thanks, everyone.